welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie. I read a lot of books because I love it. Wow, I just realised just how blue my eyes look in the viewfinder today. Because it's reflecting off the blue dress that I'm wearing. Today's book is The Book of Night, or just book, not the book. Book of Night by Holly Black. That is your front cover, as it is on BorrowBox. Because yes, I read this on BorrowBox, which is a library app. I signed up for a library card at my local library, and they said with this app you don't have to come into the library, you can just pop in a code and you've got access to all the books that we have on ebook. And it was just like, that sounds fantastic. So I did it, and I've been reading non-stop ever since. Obviously nothing can beat a physical book, like when I look at the books that are around me. I've got two books over there. I've got Thursday's Child, which you will have already seen this one, and I've also got the Victoria Wood book, which I plan on reading very soon because I love Victoria Wood. It's a bit like a mashed potato book. Like, I feel like I need to be in the right place to read it, but at the same time, it's Victoria Wood, and I want to know everything because I loved her so much, and I was so upset when she passed away. But she was just a force in comedy and paved the way for so many people. Victoria Wood, my queen of comedy. Princess at this point would be Sarah Millican, I think. Anyway, back to the book. This was such an interesting concept for a book that I was just like, that kind of sounds up my street. It's 320 pages in crime, thriller, fantasy and general fiction. And this is from the same author that did The Cruel Prince and The Prisoner's Throne. So I have heard of The Cruel Prince before, but I've never read it. Apparently it is online, it is available. It's book 1 of Folk of the Air. Sounds interesting. Let's just get in with that blurb, shall we? Charlie Hall has never found a lock she couldn't pick, a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision she wouldn't make. She's spent half her life working for glow-mists, magicians who manipulate their shadows to peer into locked rooms, strangle people in their beds, or worse. Glow-mists guard their secrets greedily, creating an underground economy of grimoires, and to rob their fellow magicians, they need Charlie. Now she's trying to distance herself from past mistakes, but going straight isn't easy. Bartending at a dive, she's entirely too close to the corrupt underbelly of the Berkshires. Not to mention that her sister Posy is desperate for magic, and that her shadowless and possibly soulless boyfriend has been keeping secrets from her. When a terrible figure from her past returns, Charlie descends back into a maelstrom of murder and lies. Determined to survive, she's up against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, glow-mists, and the people she loves best in the world, all trying to steal a secret that will allow them control of the shadow world, and more. Does that sound like one hell of a read? Because it was, to the point where when it got to the end, I think I read the final page about 3 times going, wait, what just happened? Describing this book to people has been a ride, trying to explain like what's going on. Because when I think of Charlie, I think of kind of Oliver Twist a little bit. She wasn't an orphan, but she was taken under a wing of somebody quite bad who got her to manipulate people, which then led her down this career of crime to the point where she's kind of infamous for how she was growing up with the life of crime that she was led into and the things that she witnessed. And then as an adult, she's trying to stay away from that, but because she's on the edge of that world, she keeps being drawn back in. And yeah, you see her relationship with her sister and coming to terms with things that she witnessed and was a part of growing up in the crime world. But then you've also got this magical fantasy element where you've got people with magic and the stories with the shadows and how people can manipulate their shadows. Shadows can be cut off from people. Shadows can be sewn onto other people. And it is baffling and wonderful and terrifying and everything in between squashed into one book. And it was so good. I think I read this over about 2 nights, and I was at the theatre last night. There was somebody who really wanted to watch the show, so I was originally supposed to be on like door 1, and then a co-worker was just like, I'd really like to watch this. And it's just like, oh, well, if you want, we can swap, so that I don't mind sitting on the outside if you really want to see this show, because we can do that. We can do that as long as all the fire doors are covered. We can swap if there's somebody who hasn't maybe seen a show that they want to see a show, or if they have seen a show too many times and they're just like, does anybody want to see it, because I think I'd rather sit this one out. Because, you know, there are some shows that might just be a little bit harder to watch. I know that after seeing, not to say that it wasn't a brilliant show, but we did have, we had quite a few kind of darker shows quite back to back, kind of syllabus level. What was it, Henry V, we had Macbeth, we had Lord of the Flies, all quite close together. And it was just like, when you've got quite dark shows like that, when you do see them a few times, you get to a point in the headspace when you're just like, this is a brilliant show, but I am not in the headspace to watch it tonight. Brilliant shows, but especially when you've got a darker show, you don't always want to see it. But yes, so it just allowed me to finish off this book, because I had about 150 pages left, and I just thought, fairly short show, let's see if I can do it. And I did it, like, pretty much bang on time with the show ending. Because with the 20-minute interval where I was selling ice creams, and then because the second half of the show was only half an hour long. The first half was an hour long, so that I managed to get quite a way in. And then with the 20-minute interval, and then the time spent restocking the freezer afterwards, I think I probably had about 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to read the rest of it, and it was just as before they started clapping that I finished this book, and it was just like, get in. Yeah, this was just such a clever book. It was just like one of those stories where, because it has to do with shadows, it feels like something that's so simple and yet so innovative at the same time, because you're just like, that is something that you don't really see delved into that much. As with the shadow thing, it did have elements of kind of Peter Pan a little bit for me as well, you know, with the idea of Peter Pan losing his shadow, and shadows have been like their own entities, and the idea that shadows can be morphed into a physical form, and kind of like using onyx to actually make a shadow into physical form. And there's also a character that's doing the research into shadows, and as I said, you know, with Charlie, her sister Posy, she wants the magic, she wants to be able to do something with her shadow, but it's Charlie who has that moment of just like, wait, did my shadow just do something that wasn't of my control? And so you go through the book trying to figure out whether Charlie does have this element of magic, whether she does have kind of an interesting relationship with her own shadow, and she's like monitoring it and trying to figure out what's going on. I feel like I'm just walking the surface of what happens in this book, because it's so clever. It gets really dark with the things that Charlie witnesses, and just the life that she's kind of embroiled in regards to being so close to the underbelly. I just found it really clever, really dark, and if this is anything to go by, it might mean I'll be reading other Holly Black books. I might have to give The Cruel Prince a go. Cruel Prince is like 15 up young adult, and Prisoner's Throne is 13 plus. And then Book of Night is in adult. I will say that I did feel that Book of Night was targeted more towards an adult audience, just because some of the themes that were going through it, especially in regards to Charlie's life of crime and the manner of certain, murders. Certain murders in the book. There was an element of murder mystery in there as well. Anybody who watches this channel knows that I love a good murder mystery. So yeah, the fact that it did have an element of a murder mystery in there as well kept me on my toes. I feel like I'm just being very cryptic about this one, but it is so much one that you do just need to experience firsthand and read for yourself, because there's just so much to it, and there's so many layers. And yeah, I think Charlie is kind of likeable and unlikable at the same time. Like, she does things where you really question her, but at the same time you're also seeing her trying to come to terms with her childhood, realising that maybe she wants to move on, even if she's been kind of sucked back into it. And yeah, Charlie's a mess, and she's a self-proclaimed mess. Does that sound up your alley? It certainly was mine. So, Book of Night, Holly Black. Just the fact that I've completely kind of gone over the fact that, like, the Book of Night, I will say that in her trying to escape her life of crime, she is asked to steal the Book of Night, which is supposed to have something to do with the Shadow World. So the book is supposed to be almost like a manual for how to manipulate your shadow, and so that's why it all comes back to the shadows and the glow mists. It was just so clever and so dark and just, yeah. So if you like your fantasy, if you like stuff that's a bit darker, if you've read anything by Holly Black and you're just like, I want to give, you know, is there anything that's maybe a bit targeted toward more of an adult audience, I definitely recommend this book. And if you like me and like a good murder mystery, there is a juicy murder mystery in there to get your teeth into as well. So Book of Night, Holly Black. I had fun reading this one. I've got a few books on the go at the moment, I will admit that. I'm not getting bored at all. I absolutely love being able to escape into another world. And at the moment I've got a book that I finished, but it was adapted into a film, so I kind of don't want to do a compare and contrast situation. So at some point I am hoping to watch the film of that book, which is Where the Crawdads Sing. I finished the audiobook the other day and now I want to set aside time to watch the film. I need to figure out where I can watch it. I think it might be on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere, but if anything I think I might end up watching it on Prime. So thank you so much for watching. Hello to the new subscribers. It has been very, very nice to see the numbers go up recently. I know it's not that much in the grand scheme of things, but to me, to have a couple hundred people actually admitted to watching my videos and the community that I am kind of creating over here is a very, very nice. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time with another video. Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye.